hole in the quarter panel. Got the A-pillar mount, or B-pillar mounted, sorry. Got it all welded in. The rocker's all welded in. I did make a video of that, but like I told you in my last video, I'm not a producer or movie tech guy or anything like that, and I don't know what I did, but I somehow deleted that video. So I'll go through that with you here in a little bit, kind of walk you through it, and the good thing is we got the other side to do still, so I guess it isn't that big a deal. You get to watch do that, and it's the same on both sides, just a different side of the car. So right now I'm gonna get this door skinned out so I can use this door skin to fill in my opening in my quarter panel and make it a solid quarter panel again. And once we do that, we use the inner structure of this door for the inner structure on the quarter, and once we get them welded in, that passenger side part of the conversion will be complete, and we can move on to something else that needs done. All right. Okay, so we got the skin off. This will be this end that, the back end of the door is going to be made up to the quarter panel, obviously, and weld in. The front part will trim back. I've already cut like an inch off the end, but I'll mark that from the B pillar that's already installed into the car. It'll come back 6 inches, but what the measurement is, and that keeps this beauty dip, this beauty line in this quarter. It'll be 1/16 of 30 seconds off because of your gap on your door, and you need to move this quarter back just to, like I said, like a 1/16 to 3/32 of an inch. So it might move this a little bit, but it's not going to be enough to where it's going to be all that noticeable. But this will fill in the quarter where the 4-door used to be. And I like to do this because most times these 4-doors have got pretty decent doors on them. And it seems like all the 2-door cars that you get are donor cars. They will be, they're pretty rough, pretty beat up, pretty rusty. I have got a couple of front sections out of quarter panels on donor cars that were decent, other than just maybe the bottom 2 or 3 inches had some rust in them, and it worked out pretty good on past projects I've done for other people. But the old donor cars are getting hard to find, so everybody's doing these 4-doors now, and we'll go from there. Back over at the car. Like I said, I made a video of putting this rear floor pan and the seat side pan and the B pillar in 2 or 3 days ago, and I don't know what I did. I was trying to upload it from the camera to my computer, and I don't know, it disappeared. I don't know, somebody stole it or I deleted it or what's going on, but it's gone. Anyway, I got the rocker all welded in, got the B pillar pretty much all welded in, the top's welded in, the back where it ties into the rear part of the roof rails welded in. I got to do a little bit on the bottom of the B pillar there where it ties into the rocker. The inner jam's all welded in, but the skin part that ties into the rocker, I'm waiting until I put the skin on, and I'll mark that skin, cut it, and then I overlap it, and then I cut through both panels. And then that way my weld gap is going to be even and consistent all the way through the butt weld there where I'm joining the quarter, or the B pillar, what's left of the quarter from the 2-door donor car that's attached to the B pillar will have a good consistent weld gap between that section 1/4 and the skin that I'm using for the fill-in on the 4-door hole. Okay, you can see I got my quarter in, or my B-pillar in, all welded there. Come down, it's all welded in the rocker, or in the jamb. Right down here is where I got to do where it's overlapped. I'll have to trim that up. Oh, probably right in here, along there. And then when my skin comes down, which the skin's only going to be in probably, I don't know, maybe a 1/2 inch, and that's where that weld will be. I don't like to overlap it because then your door up here fits flush, and down here the quarter will stick out a little bit by the time you body work all that. So I always try to butt weld that to get a good consistent body line there between the door and the... Anyway, I got this floor here, and I know it's not factory and all that stuff, but I got it all welded in, or tacked in. I got to finish weld it. I got my lower panel here, which is usually rotted out. On my donor car it was rotted out, so I put that in. I'm going to use the top section of that door, or maybe the top section off the 2-door donor part to tie that all in. And then I got to move up here, get this floor here all cut out, replace that front floor brace, and I have a section of frame there that I'm going to repair. I don't have another frame right now, so I'm going to have to repair this one, and it might take me a little bit, but I'll get her fixed. It's just rust and just metal. I can always cut it and weld it back together. Anyway, we're going to get some work done. I'll try to get this on time lapse or on video for a little bit so you can watch as I do this. Okay guys, we have the door skin. I got a couple tacks up here, one down here. The front obviously is cut. I can move this this B-pillar a little bit to close my gap up and get everything lined up nice. We'll get that all tacked in there when we're ready. I just wanted to show you where we're going here, what's happening. Got the bottom. Now you got a big gap on the bottom of these cars on some of them. This in here because I had to trim a little bit off for rust. I have a rust hole right here. I get this all welded in, and I'll cut a little patch out and I'll replace that spot. It's a bad spot and it needs to be replaced. And then I'll trim this little tab off the bottom here so that ties into the top of the rocker. I put a broke piece of sheet metal in here, 16 gauge. I don't know if you can see that or not. There, right there. And that's for my skin to lay against, and I'll weld that, and then I'll weld all along this seam right here to the rocker, all along this seam to tie this skin to this broken piece I put in there, at 90-degree piece. All right, and then when that's all done, then I'll just put some 8115 panel bond adhesive on there and let it dry, and I'll grind that off and I'll body work it. I just wanted you guys to kind of see where we're at, how this is going. Now up here, this is where your window frame went up off your rear door. That's got to be trimmed down up into the flat here. Up here, this piece from here to here, from up here, we keep that. All right, it's right here. What you'll do is you'll trim that. Excuse me. You'll trim that piece. Hold on, let me get my camera here where I need it. All right, there we go. You'll trim that piece like right in here. Right in that, just, 3/8 or so down from the upper the upper plane of that panel. Then this will get cut out up here, and this will lay in there and weld in, and that continues this line through here. Instead of having to make it new, it's already made. So we'll repurpose it. So make sure if you do this, guys, that when you trim down here, because you don't want to cut your door up here you know, up in this curved area here and jockey everything around to try to get it fit. So I always come up close to it where I've got enough room to body work without getting into this reveal line here. Then I come back horizontally 4 inches or so, and then I'd make my cut back where it's, before it gets too far down into this curvature. Then I can, you know, get that all lined up good, put a couple tacks along there, and that's solid, and then I'll run down this seam right here, and I'll get it tacked all the way down till the whole quarter's tacked, or till the whole skin's tacked into the quarter. And once that's done, then it's just a matter of finish welding everything. And once everything's finish welded, then we'll just go in and got a, you know, maybe a 6-inch strip of body work around all the weld seams, a little hit and miss body work around the window opening, and the outside of it's done. So I'm gonna get this welded in, and we'll talk to you here in a bit. Okay guys, we're back here at the car. I just got done tacking this skin in. Like I told you before, I jog it back, got it tacked here, and a few spots around there. This is all flush. All I got to do is finish weld that. I might have to skim it with a little mud, and I tacked it all the way down. Now I got my cut off just a little bit right here and down. And then where I tacked it here, I put a piece of TIG wire in there and use that for filler, and I tacked down both sides of that TIG wire. So I'm not sitting there trying to fill that with welding wire and MIG it shut. Getting too much heat in there and cause it to warp the panel. Like I said, I got a little rust spot right there. I also have a little rust spot down here in the rocker, into the rocker where it turns up into the dog leg. But I'm gonna come up, all up in here probably, and cut that out and build a patch for that. That's why my rocker right here, let me get my camera, there you go. That's why that rocker is just tacked. I haven't finished welded it because I'm going to cut a panel and tie that into the rocker and then up, 3 or 4 inches. Now you see where that gap, I've closed that gap on the back of that door real tight so I could weld it. That's what I was talking about earlier with this beauty line. That beauty dip in there. It might be at, 16 to 3/32 back from what it was from the factory. That's not, you're not going to even notice that. And once you get all your molding back on it and everything, it's going to be not even noticeable. You wouldn't notice it if you didn't put molding back on it. Still have to do where my window post went up here on the C-pillar. Have to cut that down and out and trim my piece of the fill-in that I took out from up here. I just wanted to do a little short video extension, or a little piece on this to add into this video to show you that it's tacked in and what it looks like. We can get back here a little bit and get a little farther away from it, and you can see it looks like a 57 150 again, but it's a 2-door instead of a 4-door now. Well, actually, at the moment, it's a 3-door. And you look along there, and it just kind of all flows together. Now, there will be a little bit of body work where this seam is through here. And it'll probably be, I don't know, 6 or 8 inches wide, but it'll be 16 to 3/32 thick, maybe an 1/8 inch right there in the middle where the weld and the door jamb used to be. And that's because these cars, when they stamp these panels, the ends of the panels turn in just a little bit. So if you really get some shine on one of these cars and you look down on them, everywhere there's a body line or a gap, door gap or fender gap, the last few inches of each panel dip in, and it leaves just a little bit of a low spot there when you lay a straight edge on it. But once I'm done, I'll be able to lay a straight edge on this car and it'll be straight. Be nice and flat, look nice. It'll look like this car over here. This is a 55 I'm doing for a customer. This quarter's all done. I put the radius wheel wells in for him. And this car is just the same thing. This was a 4-door car. I can show you through to the other side. You can see the door handle holes over there. I haven't got the inner structure in yet, but I got to put that in. But the skin and the roof rail and all that stuff, that's all been glued in, bodywork, primed, blocked, primed, and now it's ready for the satin black paint, because this is going to be a 2-lane blacktop car. And on the outside over here, this side of the car, you can see there's the door skin that I welded in. I had a little mud left over from the other side, so I went ahead and swiped it on this side. I do have to grind out some mud here in this area where there was some damage, and I'll hammer and dolly that from the inside. Weld a patch here, plug the bolt holes for the handle, and I got to lose all the trim holes. I got to weld all them shut all the way down this quarter panel. And then somebody's drilled the holes through the gas door, so I'm going to cut some plugs out and weld them in, body work that. Then I'll go over this whole body, the quarter wise on this body, and whatever little waves or dings are in it, I'll body work it out and prime it and block it, and it'll still have to add my piece in here, which I've got right here. We'll cut that and weld that in and body work that. But anyway, that's where we're at on this car, on the 57. It's the same spot basically, other than I got to finish weld this one, and that one's already finish welded. So I'll finish weld around the outside of that, go ahead and weld the patches in for the handles, where the handle holes are. I'm keeping the trim on the 150 as of right now. I really like the 210 Bel Air trim too, but I like the 150 paint layout for the two-tone paint. So I think I'm going to leave this car a 150 trim package. My biggest debate right now is whether to do it back factory red with a white deck and top of the quarters, or to do it a Black Widow style, black with a white deck lid and quarters. So I'm still up in the air on that. I really like the black and white, but I also like the red and white. I guess when I make up my mind, I'll let you guys know. If you guys got any input and want to tell me what you guys prefer or what you think I should do, I'll sure take it into consideration, and I appreciate any input you guys give me. And I think that's going to be it for a little bit. I got a little more welding to do, and then I'll come back with you and we'll start doing that front floor pan.